Hey, Grandpa, thanks for taking me parallel parking today. It was a ton of fun, and I learned a lot.
I'll tell you, you did a great job driving the car, great job parallel parking with the car. I'm proud of you, Kevin. Good job.
Thank you, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
But I wanted to ask you about risks.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to learn about, like, certain consequences with taking some risks, and how to avoid those.
Okay, so, Kevin, whenever you are in a position to make some type of decision, there's risks and there's also opportunities. So let's talk about the risks. And you've got to manage risks when making a decision or when engaged in an activity. And to manage risk, the first thing you have to do is, at least in a qualitative way, determine what is the probability of the risk occurring and what is the impact of the risk if it does occur. So let's use an example. When I'm talking about probability of a risk occurring, it could be a high probability of a risk occurring, a medium probability, or a low probability.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the impact of something happening, it could be a high impact, medium impact, or low impact. So let's use driving a car as an example. Driving a car, the probability of something happening, if you're trained, is, say, medium to low probability of getting in an accident. But the impact of getting in an accident, especially if you're traveling at a high speed on an interstate, the impact could be high. So
Yeah.
it's at least a medium probability, high impact if you get in a car accident.
Okay.
So there's different things you could do to manage that risk, and there's 4 different options that you have. You could mitigate the risk. That means take some action to reduce the probability or reduce the impact. You could accept the risk. That means do nothing at all, just move forward. You could transfer the risk, such as getting insurance, so you transfer the cost to somebody else if an accident does happen. Or you could avoid the risk, so that would mean don't drive the car at all. So let's talk a little bit about mitigation.
Yeah.
So to mitigate the risk of getting in an accident when you drive a car, one way to mitigate it is by taking a defensive driver's course. Another way to mitigate it is have a professional driving instructor give you some instruction. Another way to mitigate the risk of getting hurt if you're in a traffic accident or a car accident is to wear your seatbelt. Drive a car that has airbags. Those things will, if not reduce, well, some of them will reduce the probability, and others will reduce the impact if that car accident does happen.
Yeah.
And so those are the things you have to remember. First, you've got to identify the probability and the impact of a risk, and then you have to decide, are there actions you could take to mitigate the risk? That means driving the impact or the probability lower. Or do you want to accept the risk? Or do you want to transfer the risk? Again, a way to do that is auto insurance, for example, transferring the cost to another party. Or are you going to avoid the risk, not drive at all?
Yeah.
So those are some of the things you have to consider when you're managing risk. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Thank
All
you
right,
very
man.
much.
Good job.